Get ready. Yellowstone fans, the Dutton legacy continues to unfold in the explosive first look at 1923 Season 3. Fans won't want to miss the shocking debut of the Elizabeth Dutton spin-off, as new threats rise and old wounds reopen. Will the Duttons conquer the frontier, or will it destroy them? Don't miss the trailer that's setting 2026 on fire. The epic saga of the Dutton family continues with the highly anticipated release of the 1923 Season 3 trailer, giving fans their first thrilling glimpse into the next chapter of chaos, survival, and power struggles in the untamed American West. But that's not all. Paramount Plus is also set to expand the Yellowstone universe with a brand new Elizabeth Dutton spin-off, diving deeper into the fierce legacy of one of the franchise's most compelling characters. From brutal frontier battles to shocking family betrayals, 2026 is shaping up to be the year of the Dutton. Here's everything we know so far. The Dutton family's relentless battle to defend their legacy takes center stage in 1923 Season 3 and the Elizabeth Dutton spin-off, weaving together themes of survival, identity, and the brutal cost of power. As Spencer Dutton fights to secure the ranch's future while raising his nephew in a lawless land, Elizabeth's journey emerges as a parallel struggle, a pregnant widow forced to carve her own path in a world that dismisses her claim to the Dutton name. The story unfolds against the unforgiving backdrop of 1920s America, where economic ruin, frontier violence, and personal demons collide. While Spencer wages war against external threats to protect what's his, Elizabeth's battle is quieter but no less fierce, a fight for recognition, autonomy, and a place in a dynasty that may not welcome her. The narrative contrasts epic large-scale conflicts with intimate personal wars, each echoing the same truth. In the Dutton world, legacy is both a weapon and a burden, and survival demands sacrifice. Gritty and emotionally charged, these intertwined stories push the Yellowstone saga forward, revealing how the past shapes the future and how far one family will go to endure. The sprawling Dutton saga continues with two gripping narratives that intertwine past and future. In 1923 Season 3, Spencer Dutton returns to Montana, a changed man now responsible for raising young John Dutton, after the tragic deaths of Jack and Elizabeth. The once wandering hunter has become the family's last hope, facing down Whitfield's remaining allies and the relentless march of industrialization threatening the Yellowstone ranch. Meanwhile, Cara Dutton stands as the family's iron-willed matriarch. Her steely resolve, hardened by loss, remains unwavering in her determination to protect what's left of the Dutton legacy. The story takes an unexpected turn with the revelation that Elizabeth Dutton survived the massacre that claimed her husband Jack's life. The spin-off follows her desperate flight to Boston while carrying Jack's child, transforming her journey into a mirror of Spencer's. Where he fights external threats to the ranch, she wages an internal battle for recognition within a family that once dismissed her. The unborn child in her womb represents both new hope and a potential fracture in the Dutton dynasty. As Spencer organizes the ranch's defenses against cattle rustlers and corporate interests, flashbacks reveal the growing tension between Cara and Elizabeth before the tragedy. These memories haunt Cara's decisions as she reluctantly accepts Spencer's increasingly violent methods of protection. Meanwhile, Tiana Rainwater's parallel struggle for justice weaves through both narratives, connecting the Duttons' personal battles to the larger historical forces reshaping the American West. The stories converge around questions of inheritance and legitimacy. Spencer fights to preserve the physical ranch, while Elizabeth fights for her child's place in the family lineage. The narrative builds toward an inevitable collision. Elizabeth's eventual return to Montana threatens to reignite old wounds just as new dangers emerge. Through sweeping landscapes and intimate character moments, these twin tales explore what it truly means to be a Dutton, the sacrifices demanded, the price paid, and the unbreakable will required to survive in a world that constantly tests the limits of family loyalty. The brutal yet deeply spiritual journey of Tiana Rainwater takes center stage in 1923 Season 3 as her personal survival story evolves into a full-scale rebellion against systemic oppression. Still reeling from the boarding school massacre where she killed her abusers, self-defense survivor Tiana now moves through the wilderness like a ghost, wounded but unbroken. Each of her steps is shadowed by both government agents and the haunting memories of institutional violence. The scars left by Sister Mary's cruelty and the loss of her friend Bucks have transformed from wounds into weapons, fueling her growing resolve to dismantle the systems that destroyed her childhood. Tiana's path crosses with an underground network of indigenous resistance fighters where she finds both kinship and purpose. Under the guidance of Bear Paws, a battle-hardened Lakota veteran, she learns the art of guerrilla warfare, ambushing supply wagons bound for boarding schools, burning government outposts to the ground, and orchestrating daring midnight raids to liberate children still trapped in the church's clutches. These missions come with enormous risk, especially as the newly formed Indian Crimes Division of the FBI begins targeting their group with increasing brutality. Yet with each successful operation, Tiana's legend grows among Native communities, even as the government brands her public enemy #1. A transformative vision quest reveals the deeper spiritual dimensions of Tiana's fight. During this sacred ritual, ancestral spirits show her that the Duttons' precious Yellowstone ranch sits upon stolen sacred ground, making her personal crusade part of a much larger historical reckoning. This revelation sets her on an inevitable collision course with Spencer Dutton. Though their initial confrontation stems from misunderstanding rather than malice, it quickly escalates. When Tiana's group disrupts a Dutton cattle drive to rescue indigenous children being sold into forced labor, Spencer initially sees only lawless raiders until the horrific truth about the children's circumstances becomes impossible to ignore. The season builds toward a climactic siege on Fort Shaw Boarding School, where Tiana leads a desperate mission to free the imprisoned children. The bloody confrontation with U.S. cavalry forces exacts a terrible price, including the sacrificial death of Bear Paws, who bequeaths Tiana his ceremonial knife with his final breath. This weapon, imbued with generations of resistance, becomes both a physical tool and a spiritual artifact, its eventual appearance in the modern Yellowstone timeline suggesting how Tiana's fight echoes across centuries. As the season concludes, Tiana becomes a living legend among her people, even as she is forced to flee north to Canada. Her story leaves an indelible mark on the Duttons, particularly Kara, who recognizes the unsettling parallels between Tiana's fight for justice and her own family's battle to hold on to stolen land. The lingering question of whether these two formidable women will become enemies or uneasy allies hangs heavy over the narrative, while the ancestral knife's journey through time whispers of futures yet to unfold. Through Tiana's eyes, the series confronts the uncomfortable truth. Every empire, even the Duttons' beloved ranch, is built upon someone else's tragedy. It sets the stage for reckonings that will reverberate through generations. The dust settles on the Dutton legacy as 1923 Season 3 and the Elizabeth Dutton spin-off deliver their final earth-shaking chapters. Spencer Dutton, battle-worn and weary from years of fighting, stands victorious over the ruins of his enemies, yet finds no peace in his triumph. The Yellowstone ranch is secured, but at a cost that leaves him hollow-eyed, staring at young John Dutton, playing in the same fields where so much blood was spilled. Kara's iron resolve finally cracks in a private moment, clutching Jacob's old hat to her chest as she whispers to the empty house, "Was it worth it, my love?" Their hard-won security feels fragile, the weight of their choices pressing down like the Montana winter snow. Meanwhile, Elizabeth's transformation from grieving widow to formidable claimant reaches its zenith. She returns, not with tears, but with lawyers and ledgers. Her son, the spitting image of his father Jack, stands tall beside her. Her confrontation with Kara crackles with unspoken history, two women who loved and lost Dutton men now circling each other like wolves over the carcass of their shared past. In a stunning convergence, Tiana Rainwater emerges from the shadows, her own battle for justice, finding unexpected alignment with Elizabeth's crusade. Their alliance is forged in a mutual understanding of what it means to be denied, to be dismissed, and to fight for a legacy on their own terms. Erased by powerful men, Tiana delivers the final blow to the Dutton mythos. As Elizabeth's legal team unearths the ranch's contested origins, Tiana stands at the border of Yellowstone, her people massing behind her, not with weapons, but with court orders and ancestral land claims. The saga's closing moments offer no simple resolution. Spencer rides the fence line one last time, his hand brushing the posts his Uncle Jacob once built. In the distance, surveyors mark new boundaries. Elizabeth watches from a Boston hotel window as her son studies a map of Montana spread across the bed. Tiana kneels by a riverbank, letting the water flow through her fingers, the same water that courses through Dutton land. Three futures diverge, yet remain forever connected by blood and soil. The final image lingers on Jacob's weathered hat, abandoned on a porch rail as the wind tugs at its brim. A ghostly whisper of Elsa's voice carries on the breeze. All we are is stories in the end. Make yours worth telling. The screen fades to black, leaving only the echo of hooves and the faint cry of a hawk circling above the Yellowstone. A kingdom won. A legacy fractured. A reckoning deferred but never forgotten. The screen fades up on a dying fire in the Yellowstone ranch house hearth, its embers glowing like the last stubborn light of the Dutton legacy. Spencer stands at the window, his reflection fractured in the glass, the warrior who won every battle but lost the war for his soul. Outside, young John Dutton practices his shooting, each crack of the rifle echoing like a ghost from the future. The boy doesn't see the surveyor stakes already planted at the edge of their land, the ink barely dry on the contracts that will carve up his inheritance. 5 states away, a train cuts through the prairie night. Elizabeth Dutton watches her sleeping son in their Pullman compartment, his face a perfect blend of her beauty and Jack's stubborn jaw. The legal documents in her lap don't just demand a share of the ranch, they rewrite the family history, proving that some Duttons survived not by gunfire, but by guile. When the conductor calls the next stop Bossman, Montana, her fingers tighten around the silver locket containing Jack's photograph. The dead may bury the dead, but the living come to collect. At dawn, 2 women stand on opposite sides of a Yellowstone boundary fence. Tiana Rainwater, her braids threaded with eagle feathers, presses her palm against the cold earth, feeling the heartbeat of the land her ancestors once called home. Elizabeth, in her city gloves and a determined stare, adjusts her son's tie before stepping forward to meet the future. The camera rises overhead, revealing the ranch spread out beneath them like a chessboard. The final image holds on Jacob Dutton's weather-beaten Stetson, abandoned on a fence post. The wind tugs gently at its brim. That same wind carries the sound of children laughing, John playing with Elizabeth's boy. Their rivalry not yet kindled. Their shared blood still thicker than the coming feud. As the screen fades, Elsa's voice returns. All empires fall. The only question is, who's left standing when the dust settles? The battle for Yellowstone may be over for now, but the war for your loyalty is just getting started. Smash that subscribe button and ring the bell, because breaking 1923 and Yellowstone news drops here first. Deep dive episode breakdown. Hidden Easter eggs. Exclusive theories on what's next for the Dutton bloodline. Spoiler-free reviews the second new episodes air. This isn't just a channel, it's a bunker for diehard fans. Miss one upload and you might miss the clue that changes everything. Stay connected. Subscribe, comment below. Which Dutton heir deserves the ranch? The Duttons fight for land. We fight for the real fans. See you in the next video.